tonight about a deadly encounter outside a business in Montgomery County this weekend. The owner of that business is behind bars tonight, charged with murder. Action News reporter Brianna Smith joins us live from Hatsboro with new surveillance video and information about the victim. Brianna.
Walter, police say the two men had problems in the past. In fact, officers responded to that same area 3 times before for verbal disputes between the two, and they told the men to avoid contact with each other. But police say on Saturday, the suspect ended their argument by shooting the father of one. Denise Costello heard those 7 gunshots just feet away from her Tiano Hair and Beauty Salon in Hatsboro on Saturday evening.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy because you don't expect that here.
The Montgomery County District Attorney's Office charged 41-year-old Maurice Byrd with first-degree murder and related offenses for 37-year-old Stephen Strassburg in the parking lot outside his shop.
That's a little scary. You get a little shaken up.
The criminal complaint states Byrd owns Razor Reese's Salon and Spa on North York Road, and Strassburg lives on the 2nd floor of the building. Investigators say Byrd called 911 saying Strassburg was verbally assaulting him with racial slurs. Byrd says then Strassburg grabbed his shirt and pulled his arm back like he was going to punch him. That's when Byrd fired 5 shots, paused, and then 2 more shots while still on the phone with the dispatcher. Jay McCollum, who owns Sky Blue Piercing next door, ran outside to help.
I just kind of went into panic mode. I saw somebody bleeding. You know, I've got a shop filled with, things that can take care of that. And so I just ran and grabbed a handful of gauze, ran out and just held it on the wound on his face, and just waited there until the police came.
Witnesses told detectives Strassburg was the instigator and charged at Byrd. Residents just wish their problems could have been resolved.
I think it's terrible. I think that nobody should have to go through any of that.
I just feel really bad, it was a horrible situation. Obviously it didn't need to happen, and my heart goes out to the guy, so it's really unfortunate.
And Strasburg's family says he was a hardworking man and the rock of their family. Now, police say Strassburg did not have a weapon on him at the time of the shooting, and Byrd has a license to carry. Byrd is currently being held in the Montgomery County Jail.
All right, peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen. All praises to the Most High. The incident that you just watched happened in Hatsboro, Pennsylvania, which is in Montgomery County, on June 8, 2024 of last year. And as you heard, 41-year-old disabled veteran, upstanding citizen of the law, business owner of Razor Reese's Salon, has been charged on first-degree homicide charges for what some people would call standing his ground against 37-year-old Stephen Strassburg, as Strassburg hurled racial epithets, insulted him, berated him, and actually charged him, striking him 3 times before Mr. Boyd pulled his license to carry firearm, stood his ground, and fired the shots that took Stephen Strassburg's life. Now, according to the article, he is slated to stand trial this week, January the 6th, on the charges of first-degree homicide. Now, many people in the community, including those who were witnesses there, said Strassburg was the aggressor. And there is no way that Maurice Boyd should be even charged. And let me mention, Hatsboro has a population of about 74% white, 8% black, and the other demographics are scattered therein. Now, this incident was the culmination of about 2 years worth of disputes and haggling between the two men, neighbors and fellow business owners say. Now, Maurice Boyd owned the barbershop in that shopping center. Strassburg stayed above that barbershop, and it was said that the two often argued about parking spaces. But neighbors and witnesses say that Strassburg was known to use racially charged language. We all have seen instances in the past where white people, i.e. George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, have claimed self-defense in regards to standing their ground. But statistics show, and we see from this case, that when the suspect is white and the victim is black, they have a 36% of being granted that stand your ground law. However, when the suspect is black, in this case Maurice Byrd, and the victim is white, in this case Stephen Strassburg, the probability of the stand your ground law drops significantly to 3%. Now, you can't tell me that race is not a factor in this instance. Now, the story goes where this particular day, the two got into, I guess, their normal confrontation, in which the two men were, involved in a conversation, an argument, where Strassburg has reported, calling him, Mr. Boyd, a dirty N-word, and, doing all types of, insulting slurs to him. Now, at this point, they said Mr. Boyd ran inside his shop, grabbed his phone, and called the police and reported that he was being verbally harassed, racially targeted by this man. And he walked outside and he was telling the police to please come, please come. At this point, witnesses say Strassburg started to approach him. And Mr. Boyd was backing up. And as Strassburg continued to approach him, Boyd pulled out his license to carry Smith & Wesson. And when he did that, witnesses say, and actually the 911 recording says and quotes him saying, "Oh, what are you going to do? Shoot me, N-word?" And it was at that point, witnesses and the 911 call reports that Strassburg grabbed Mr. Boyd by the shirt, drew back his hand, and threw three blows, one of which struck Mr. Boyd. And it was at that point Mr. Boyd fired off, hitting him twice in the face and 3 times somewhere else. Now, witnesses say they heard 5 shots in rapid succession, and then they heard a pause, and then 2 more shots. And so it was at that point Mr. Boyd told 911 officers, "Hey, look, I had to shoot him. He kept coming at me." And then he laid his gun on the ground and waited for police to come. Now, when the police came, they automatically charged him with first-degree homicide. And some of the prosecutors and some of the people who are against Mr. Boyd said that he should have retreated. He could have retreated. He could have stayed in his shop and locked the doors. But Pennsylvania is one who has implemented the stand your ground law, which means that a person has no duty to retreat, especially if they are being targeted or charged at and they feel like their life is in imminent danger. They have no duty to retreat if they can. Now, in this case, Boyd, who served valiantly in Afghanistan, and he was injured, he sustained a leg injury in Afghanistan, was not able to retreat because of his injury. So in this case, people feel like he was justified. One witness who was at the scene, and I quote, says, "That was self-defense." Absolutely, said Jerry Boggs, who has run nearby Boggs Printing for 45 years. Boggs said he did not see the shooting, but from what he has learned, he believes Byrd should be cleared based on his fraught history with Strassburg, who had 3 DWI convictions, including a vehicular homicide charge in 2009, for which he pleaded guilty and served a few years in prison. "There is no way he should be going to jail for this," Boggs said. And so there you have another fellow business owner who knows the history of this guy. And once again, several people said Strassburg was known for hurling insults, racially insults at neighbors. And he also has 3 DWI convictions, including a vehicular homicide, meaning this guy was already a criminal. Now, mind you, Maurice Boyd has no criminal record, has never been in trouble, and runs a successful business. Now, he is also a member of the local NAACP. Now, the local NAACP chairman, Maurice Davis, chimed in. He said that Boyd is a member of the NAACP and he is also his barber. He's troubled but not surprised by the racial slurs Byrd endured leading up to the shooting. It's happening all over. The climate with the political environment that's brewing, I'm not shocked. I would have hoped that he would have walked away from it, but who knows what's in his head when his emotions get involved. And so there he cites once again the political climate in which many people feel that, you know, the current president is getting people who hold those racist views is putting, as people call, a battery in their back. It's making them emboldened to make these charges against regular citizens. You know, Mr. Boyd is just a regular citizen running a barbershop, trying to provide a life for his family. And here he has to deal with this guy who stays above him, constantly spewing racially charged rhetoric in his way. Now, also because Boyd is a veteran, he has support from the local Veterans Association, the Veterans of Philadelphia. Now, they chime in and they say Byrd's case is not typical because he was provoked. He had a permit for his gun. He called police before the shooting and stayed at the scene, even though proving his innocence will not be easily. Temple University Law School professor Jules Epstein said that although there is a factual basis for Montgomery County District Attorney's Office to charge Byrd with first-degree homicide, prosecutorial discretion may be appropriate. She said this was not a planned execution. This was a human emotion explosion with provocation in a matter of seconds. And it would have been at least as fair and reasonable if the prosecutor decided not to charge him with first-degree homicide. Maybe it's third degree, maybe it's manslaughter, maybe it is the self-defense. A retired judge, Benjamin Leonard, said, on the other hand, there are facts and circumstances that could reduce this case to manslaughter or even provide a determination of possible self-defense. And so here we have, you know, a lot of people in the community in favor of Mr. Boyd's usage of the stand your ground law, especially since he was provoked. Now, imagine if the roles were reversed. There was a black man hurling insults at a white man and then charging him and trying to punch him, and that black man had the criminal record that Strassburg had. I think there would be no doubt of these people saying that he was justified. Like, it would be a clear-cut case. Like, Boyd is still in jail today as he awaits trial. And so this is contrary to what we have seen when the roles are reversed. Now, another young lady whose father is a retired police officer and was close to the situation said that she feels bad for both men and their families. She's confused about why Strassburg expressed such racial animus towards Byrd and why Byrd responded as he did. Words hurt, but bullets kill. And this is an example of that. Now, once again, she first expressed concern about Strassburg's use of racial animosity and why did he hate Byrd so much. But then she said, well, words hurt, but he didn't have to do that. Basically, she's de facto taken up for Strassburg. So, but what I found in this community that Mr. Boyd has a lot of support. Now, this once again is nothing that you have seen on national news, because I think, just like in the case of Sipo Minute, when Black people use their right to legal self-defense or defend themselves against attack, it's not as inviting as the other stories that we see. I don't think the powers that be in the general public want to see Black people defending themselves in the same manner that white people do in these type of situations. Now, I'm just being honest. And I think people in the comments can agree with this. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. And this attitude is also shared by the Montgomery County District Attorney, who's going to be prosecuting Mr. Boyd. Now, she says that even though the racial slurs Strassburg called Byrd were absolutely inexcusable, those words did not justify the shooting. She forcefully argued that Byrd knew that Strassburg was unarmed because he told the 911 dispatcher that fact, and he could have gone inside his shop to wait for the police. But she said he remained outside, egging on the argument. Seconds before pulling the trigger, the 911 call recorded him threatening, "I'm going to shoot at you." His intent was very clear, said Kaufman, who declined to elaborate outside of the court. Now, his defense attorney said that Byrd did attempt to get away from Strassburg, who was bearing down on him, and only fired to protect himself. The video shows Mr. Byrd basically trying to run away, but he has a bad leg. He really can't. He's backing up all the way to the other side of the parking lot. That's where this man was shot. When this case goes to trial, Lyons said he plans to argue that Byrd acted in self-defense. This guy's pursuing him, yelling these racial epithets at him. He was clearly very aggressive. Clearly, he meant to do harm to Mr. Byrd. You have a right in Pennsylvania to defend yourself if you have a reasonable fear that you are in danger. And so those are the two opposing sides of this. Now, they did speak with one of Strassburg's relatives, said that he was a good father. And, she was surprised that he was using those epithets and all that. And she said that both of the men are, two hard-headed people and, yada, yada, yada. Basically saying that, her cousin wasn't at fault. Now, the father said that, my son is a peaceful businessman. He served his country honorable, and, he's an upstanding citizen. And so the question remains, and we will soon see, because like I said, the trial, if it had not been continued, was set to commence on January the 6th. And that was 4 days ago. But someone just sent me this article. And so this is something that, we should keep an eye on. This man, once again, is an honorable citizen. He was pursued, targeted, and actually assaulted by a criminal. Yes, a suspect, a known criminal with the 3 DWIs and a vehicular homicide charge. Cut and dry to me. But we're going to see how this plays out in the court of law. We all know that there are two sets of judicial systems for the two sets of people in this country. And so Y'all make sure y'all keep up with this case. This happened once again in Hatsboro, Pennsylvania. And so hopefully the young brother gets justice by the letter of the law. He has no duty to retreat. He has a right to stand his ground when people are targeting him. So y'all guys, let me know what you think in the comments. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings. Y'all have a good night.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House bring the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you in your feet.
Taylor House, we got the scoop.
Taylor House Publishing.